All right. We are live today on the T Podcast. I know it's a Wednesday. It is Festival International Week, the start of it today. So if you are in town and are around and about downtown Lafayette, check it out. Today we have a great episode. We're going to be talking with Dillon and Chrystal Quebedeaux?
Chrystal Quebedeaux, yes.
Okay, yeah, Quebedeaux. I butcher last names bad, but I think I got that one. They are the owners of Little Light of Mine, Montessori Academy. We're going to be talking about that in a little bit. Our podcast sponsor, our studio sponsor is Optimize GP, Optimize Generator People. They are a great local company. So if you're looking to power your home with confidence, with a whole home generator, it is the Optimized Generator People. They specialize in reliable home standby Generac generator solutions. So we, in this area, we have a lot of outages, especially during hurricane season. We just had an outage, I think it was like last night or the night before, where it just all of a sudden the power goes out. So they specialize in powering your home during an outage. They have expert service, control your power, control your life, optimizegp.com. Check them out. Great company. Like I said, they have amazing service. I've seen all their awards. Anyway, with that, we appreciate their sponsorship and enjoy the show. All right. And then our presenting sponsor is Chase Group Construction. They take the lead and become your one point of contact for the entire design, build process. They've been a sponsor of the podcast for several years now, and no signs of stopping. And same thing with their construction projects, no sign of stopping. And actually, Chase Group Construction is building the Little Light of Mine Montessori Academy, who we have the owners here talking with them. So check them out, chasegroupconstruction.com. Great local sponsor. Again, can't say anything better about them. They're just great. They built a bunch of good stuff, so you're going to want to check those out. And with that, let's get the show on the road. Dillon, Chrystal, welcome to the T Podcast.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you for having us.
Sir.
Yes, good morning.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about you guys and where you're from. And, let's get introductions started. So whoever wants to go first, I guess,
Awesome.
ladies first.
I'll go first because I have the least to say on this podcast. I would like it to be more focused on my wife.
Okay, all right.
I'm Dillon Quebedeaux from Lafayette, Louisiana, born and raised. We went to Acadiana High School, all that good stuff. But, definitely want to focus on my wife and her journey up until this point.
I'm Chrystal Quebedeaux. So I'm from Karen Crow. Grew up my whole entire life on that side, and then Dillon moved me to the city, Youngsville. We've been together 10 years, so it's been a while. But and I went to school, Karen Crow High, and then I graduated from UL.
Shouldn't have said that part.
Hey, I live in Karen Crow. It's
I was about to say, Karen Crow's a great place.
It's a great place. I'm just joking, of course.
That's me.
Okay. So both of you guys are Lafayette Parish natives.
Yes.
Yes. Have you guys ever lived outside of the parish?
Lived.
I haven't.
We lived in Memphis for a year at St. Jude's, but that's another topic for another day, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we might explore that topic in a little bit, but
as far as moving,
you haven't settled anywhere else. Yeah. Okay. So, being from here, what are your? Obviously, you're going to be biased, clearly, but if you had to tell anybody about the Lafayette Parish area, Youngsville, Karen Crow, wherever you find your enjoyment in life in the area, how would you describe the area to someone?
Culture.
Yes, we are full of culture in Lafayette, Louisiana. I think everybody knows that, especially with Festival International this week. There are, I feel like we're just the melting pot of the United States. We have people from all over that come here to live here because of our culture. I like, and he might differ, but I like the countryside of it. Like I I would live on a farm. I would have chickens. I like the quiet country life that, the outer skirts bring. But I also like to go, enjoy festivals and, of course, the food.
Obviously,
yeah, the food.
The culture and the food is always what people talk about.
I do enjoy those things. But
you can't go anywhere and get this.
No, for sure. I do like how friendly the people are, too. That is a big thing over here. When you travel to other places, you realize how friendly people are over here. So I guess that's what, whenever I do travel, I'm like, man, I can't just bring up a conversation with anybody like I can back at home and feel the openness and the hospitality. So that's another thing that I love about this city.
Yeah. In this area, you can be in a grocery store and meet someone for the first time in a grocery store and have a 30-minute conversation, and you're like, I guess we're exchanging numbers at this point. Like,
exactly.
Facebook.
Am I invited to the cookout? Like that kind of thing.
Correct.
So with you guys being, obviously natives and everything like that, that's kind of guided your lives. You guys did you guys go to college? Did you go to any higher education school besides high school?
So I started off my career my college career, I guess you would say, or journey at LSUE. I was actually going to school for kinesiology, which totally didn't go with what I was doing in life. And because I've always worked with children before that, all throughout high school, I worked at a daycare in Carencro, and I worked there for 9 years. So all through high school, I worked there, and then all through my college journey, I worked there. So then I just decided I was going to go to school for kinesiology and do physical therapy. And I lasted 2 semesters and then changed to elementary education, and then got very scared of the praxis exam and changed to something that took all my credits, and that was child and family studies. And I graduated in that in 2014, and that's kind of what brought me to where I am today. But now I'm teaching again. So it kind of just went full circle. I have my bachelor's in science in child and family studies, minor in psychology, and now I'm a certified teacher, and I've just taught kindergarten because I love the little kids.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So that's obviously going to steer the conversation in a little bit here. Kinesiology, that is different. Like, I know someone who is an advocate for the kinesiology department at UL.
Really?
She does a lot of raffles to raise money for, is it raffles? I might be getting it wrong, but she raises money for that department for a scholarship for her, that's, I guess, labeled under her son, who was a kinesiology student who passed away suddenly. And so she does. So I only know of kinesiology because of her. I don't have her name with me right now because I'm so bad with names. Amazing. But if you're a business owner, you know who I'm talking about. She wears the red jacket. She goes around, you buy the little book. Anyway, but yeah, so kinesiology, man, that's different. That's a medical thing, and then now you're teaching.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Tell them why you didn't like needles.
Yeah.
You didn't like needles?
Well, I didn't like that. It was a lot of the same courses that nursing students take.
Yeah.
And I ended up in anatomy lab because that's just a prereq course. And just the thought of sticking a needle into someone and then seeing all the different parts that you could stick it into and mess up, I was like, I don't like this.
You can mess up a lot.
It's kind of crazy, the way God works, though, because I ended up having to stick needles in my own daughter because she had to have different types of medicines, and you only could administer it through the needles. So for Emmy's journey, it's just crazy how it works because I ended up having to, do something I didn't like.
But at least you had some sort of education.
I had some sort of knowledge. So now it's funny, when you connect the dots, looking back, you're like, oh, okay, it was just mentally preparing me for another season in my life.
Yeah. Wow.
So.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That is wild. Dillon, I know you want to steer the conversation mainly to your wife and the things that you guys are doing together, but what do you do for work?
Currently, I work for eXp Realty on the Blake Arsenault team.
Okay.
And, we are vamping up. The market's getting hot. If you're looking to buy or sell your home, please contact me. Yes,
Shameless
indeed.
plug.
Let's go. If you want to bring it up, let's go.
Okay. Yeah. So we are at about 10 minutes. I want to go ahead and kind of talk a little bit. You mentioned Emmy, and that is a big thing that a lot of people know about you guys and what you've been dealing with. I don't know how much of it you guys want to talk about, but I think that kind of guides where you're going with the business that you have created and all that good stuff.
Exactly where we it started there in Memphis, so we want to tie it all in.
Yeah,
but we can get lost in that conversation too. So maybe just
right. I know I don't want to linger on it too much because I think enough people know about it. But just for the sake of making sure that we establish the idea and the point of your mission and your journey in life.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I know a little bit, but I don't know enough to kind of guide the conversation on this. What happened with Emmy? I mean, she's a small little girl.
Yes.
So tell us about Emmy. Tell us what happened, if whatever you're willing to tell.
Yeah. So I noticed in the summer of 2023 that she started kind of, and it was kind of before that, honestly, because I remember taking off in the school year, and you feel that guilt when you take off of work often, and I remember feeling that. But she kept coming down with just random sicknesses. She had like a little low-grade fever. Bring her to the doctor. They'd say, probably allergies.
Or an ear infection.
Something. And so we kind of battled with that. And then in July, she really took a turn for the worse. Her energy level plummeted. She kind of was just laying around. And so I was like, okay.
She would say her back hurt.
Her back hurt?
Her back hurt.
Okay.
And so I went to the doctor and I was like, she's saying her back hurts.
How
her
old
energy
was
level. She just turned 3. Her birthday is June 15th.
At that point, she had just turned 3.
She had just turned 3. And this is probably beginning of July. One of the times I remember is when we went to the camp.
Yeah.
And that was really the first time I noticed,
she loves the camp. She loves the boat.
Yeah, she loves to be outside. She loves the camp. She loves to ride the boat. And she just was kind of, meh about it. And so we actually had some friends with us there that weekend. And one of them was a nurse. And she was like, you might want to go get her checked out. She had been diagnosed with a UTI at that point, and they just kept re-diagnosing her with a UTI after several rounds of medication. So when I brought her back, we addressed it again, and once again, she was diagnosed with a UTI.
That was the week after the camp she's talking about.
Yeah. And so one of our friends that was at the camp said, that could be a serious thing, if it's not, if she's being treated for it and it's not really being treated.
Yeah, that means
if the medication's
amiss.
not working. Yeah. So I kept bringing her back, and finally the third time, and really I couldn't really describe what was wrong with her besides her just saying her back hurt,
fatigue,
a low-grade fever and fatigue. And so the third time I brought her back after several rounds of medication, I kind of was just like, hey, we might need to run more tests, started asking about immunology tests because I was like, look, she's had this fever. I know you're saying it's UTI, but she's been battling this for a few months now. So eventually I got fed up because I was being told the same thing, nothing's wrong with her. And so I brought her to the ER a couple days later, and that's where they discovered that she actually had stage 4 neuroblastoma. So
you found out at the ER.
Yes.
But all of the doctors and specialists that you've been going to have just been kind of...
They had never taken an x-ray ever. What had happened was...
Yeah, they never had ran like a blood panel on her. And so in the ER, that's protocol, right? When you go and they can't figure out exactly what it is, the first thing they do is run a blood panel. Well, when her blood panel came back, her CBC red blood count was really low. And so the doctor that was in the ER asked me, hey, has she ever had a transfusion? Or was she ever anemic and needed a transfusion? I was like,
At
no.
3 years old, too. I mean,
I was like, no, not to my knowledge. And he said, well, that might explain why she's been so tired, because her blood level was at a 6, which is really low.
What's a normal blood level?
10.
Above 10. So it doesn't sound like a big, huge number, but 10 is actually low for a regular person.
It was enough to tell him something was off.
But 10 with Emmy's chemo and stuff that she had is normal for her.
Okay.
But it was lower than that.
Yeah.
So she needed a blood transfusion. And then she actually had that night when I was taking her a bath, she had a lump in her neck, which looked like it could have been a swollen lymph node. So in my mind, I'm like, oh my gosh, her UTI wasn't fully treated. Maybe we're having a kidney infection and it's swelling her lymph node. But so I ended up, one of our really good friends and a neighbor of ours is a nurse, and she's the one who said, you need to bring her to the ER like right now, because that's a huge lymph node if that's what it is. What it ended up being is a tumor that grew so big that it popped her lymph node. It was pushing up against her lymph node and it popped it up.
That's the third tumor.
And so that's what, really drove me to the ER. And then the blood panel showed that, and then it led him to do more tests. He did an x-ray. They saw tumors in the x-ray, and then he did a CT to confirm. And in the midst of all that, he was kind of talking back and forth with oncologists, because he actually worked in the oncology field before. So he kind of knew what that was.
For St. Jude's.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
what ER did you guys go to? Was it local?
we were at Women's.
Okay.
Yes.
And his name was Dr. Bourne.
Dr. Bourne.
We love you, Dr. Bourne. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
That is scary.
Yes. Yeah, it was something, it's something you never are prepared to hear. So it was definitely hard to take in. And for a while, it actually felt like a nightmare. It probably took me 6 months to come to terms that this was really happening, you know, because it was something that I prayed against every night. And so when I heard those words, I just it took me back.
Yeah. That C word is.
Yeah.
Even whenever it's said in like astrology or your sign, I can't stand the word. It just, I'm like, why that word? It just And then the fact that there was a lump in the neck. I'm always hearing that, like, anytime there's a lump in the neck, that's like a bad sign.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
I was thinking for a second, it crossed my mind that it might have been cancer because of the mannerisms that she was having. But now I was like, there's no way. There's no way that my baby would have this. And
at 3 years old.
That's every parent's mentality about it. You never want it to be you. So you just kind of put that in the back of your mind, but it did for a second. And I told him.
So she's the #1 Google doctor in Lafayette. If y'all want to know. So she Googled something real quick and she come up. Yeah, for sure. I'm just clowning, but she Googled something real quick and she told me that, and I straight up said, "Oh, shut up." This is before we went to the hospital. That night.
I mean,
you never would think that this
anytime
is
you
your
Google
child.
something, you're gonna die.
Yes.
That's the end of the world.
Exactly.
Look, if my wife is listening, she does that too. She'll go to the internet and be like, "Oh, I have this," or I'm like, "Kelly, just relax.
That's exactly what I do.
Just wait a little while. If it goes away, fine. If it doesn't, then we worry."
Yeah.
But like, I used to Google back in the day. It was WebMD. WebMD would tell you, it's probably cancer. I'm like, great.
It always led to cancer.
All roads apparently lead to that. I'm like, I might as well just not do anything. I'm not live. Correct. Like, just stop. But I mean, that's a terrible way to live, obviously.
Yes.
Okay, so you guys get checked out. You're at the ER. You find out that she had stage 4. What kind of cancer was it again?
It's neuroblastoma. It's actually a cell that never matures. So it's an immature cell, and it affects other cells around it, and that's what cancer is.
And it spreads
it's cells
rapidly.
that aren't doing the right thing, which is what creates the tumors. And so hers spread from one tumor. She had 3 tumors, so to 2 to 3. They said this happened probably within a span of 2 months.
That's fast.
Yeah, because, as a mom, I felt guilty. I was bringing her to the doctor and doing what I was supposed to do. But at the same time, I was like, why didn't I push harder? How long has this been? And our doctor in Memphis, Dr. Sarah, reassured us. She's like, this could have happened in 2 months.
Yeah.
It could have happened very quickly because it's very metastatic. So
what does that mean, metastatic?
It means that it spreads.
Okay.
It's a cancer that spreads, and that's when it becomes, that's what deciphers stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4 is how quickly it could spread and how aggressive it is. So
okay, see, I did not know that.
Yeah.
I don't like to look up anything dealing with cancer because I'm not trying to manifest that.
I don't blame you. The only reason that I know about this is just because Emmy's been through it for 18 months.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you guys got more education than you would like on it, I'm sure.
They could just put a badge on me. Just put a badge on me and let me be a nurse.
So to round things out, we're at about 20 minutes. How is Emmy doing now?
She is doing phenomenal. And the only explanation for me is God. That is why she is doing so good. Everything that could have happened during treatment, because it is a very harsh treatment for neuroblastoma. A lot of people don't know, but
radiation and all that good stuff.
She has to have all of it. Yeah. She has to have chemo, radiation, immunotherapy, several oral antibiotics, all of the things.
And she went through the loss of hair and all that good stuff, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But she is doing phenomenal. Her hair is growing back. She's putting on weight all by herself, which is a big deal after neuroblastoma. Because now neuroblastoma is in your abdomen, it's in your gut. So the fact that she's able to hold her food on her own and gain weight on her own without an NG tube is amazing. And so she looks good. She has her energy again. She's really thriving.
She cannot wait. We're getting ready to go to the camp for the first time that she can swim this weekend.
Wow. Yeah, she hasn't been able to swim.
She woke up this morning running in circles and all because we're going to a friend's camp as well and swim in their pool, and so she is just she hadn't been able to swim since before. She had
had a central line and you can't get it wet at all, not even for a bath.
Yeah, so she
wasn't able to take a bath.
She has all the energy. She
wasn't able to swim, so she's excited.
So that line is closed?
So they took it out.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Because she's cancer-free.
Yes.
Dude,
since November, she's been cancer-free.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
So it really is God.
That is wild. I could not imagine going through
then leaving our other kids behind was a big...
Yeah, that was really hard.
And so you guys had to temporarily live in Memphis.
We lived on campus, for a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, we lived there for right out a year. But anytime Dillon's dad was great and my parents were great, they took care of our big kids for us. And
we had a great...
They made sure that we still saw the big kids. Whenever Dillon's dad was off from work, he was able to bring them up to us. And we were able, on her downtime periods, we were able to come back home for short periods of time. So we were able to still, see our big kids, which is better than some because we've met people at St. Jude.
At one point, it was once a month or so.
That live in a whole nother country, and so they can't travel back and forth. And for us, it wasn't so bad because St. Jude's 6 hours away.
Yeah.
So it's easy to travel 6 hours. So his dad was able to bring the big kids to us. And
St. Jude charged you nothing, correct?
No. 0.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and provided a place for us to stay, so where we didn't have to come up with another rent,
Yeah.
That's what people need to know about St. Jude. The medical thing is one thing, but it's all the other stuff that people don't. We still had bills that never stopped at home, but as far as living in Memphis,
like we didn't have to come up with anything extra.
Was provided for us. The housing was provided for us. They reimbursed for gas. Like it's all the extra life things that they help you with. That when people donate to St. Jude's, it's really a big deal, and for all families.
Yeah. That's amazing. So I'm glad to know that because as a kid, I remember having things sent home from school, like St. Jude, donation forms or like little math problem books you can do for St. Jude, and as you do so many, like it would go towards that. As a kid, it was just, if I was like, is this a real place? Like, is it?
It's a real place.
Yeah,
it is definitely a real place.
As an adult, I know now.
It's the Disney World of any hospital for kids. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, I for sake of time, we could probably dive a little deeper. Yeah. But I want to go ahead and get my next sponsor in. It is the Music Academy of Acadiana. So they're Acadiana's top choice for music lessons. If you have a young child, if you have an old adult, or if you are the old adult. Why am I saying adult that way? I don't know.
I don't know if you're saying goat or what.
I don't know. Adults. I know an adult. Anyway, if you want to learn music, or if you have a kid that wants to learn music, Music Academy of Acadiana, check them out. They're located right next to Sam's Club on Ambassador. They are a top music school in the Lafayette area. They teach drums, violin, saxophone, all the instruments. They can help you improve your voice. They have an in-house recording studio. So if you do go through the school and you improve and excel at whatever you do, you can actually record an album there, and they'll help you release it, which is really cool. Founded by Tim Benson, a UL Lafayette Music School graduate. UL will come at me if I don't say UL Lafayette. And they have before many times. Looking at you, UL Lafayette. Anyway, great school. Check them out. Music Academy Acadiana.com. Yeah, they're a great local sponsor, and we really appreciate them. All right, so now let's get into the Little Light of Mine Montessori Academy. So, how did you guys come up with that school? Like, what was the inspiration behind it? Obviously, Little Light of Mine, suggesting that it's based off your kids and wanting to see kids excel. But you tell us about Little Light of Mine.
So that stems back from what I've done for my whole life. So starting at 13, I started babysitting out of my childhood home, just a few kids each summer. And then that led to, I ended up getting my first official job at a daycare for summer camp, which was really fun. I stayed at that place for that summer, and then, I was between that and high school. So eventually, one of my friends was working at a daycare in Karen Crow, and so that kind of opened the door for me to start being a floater over there for, I was still in high school, so I was just relieving people for breaks, and eventually that led to me having my own pre-K 3, pre-K 4 class. I had a mix of 3s and 4s, and I did that for 9 years. I stayed over there for 9 years, and after I graduated high school, I ended up I started off at LSUE, and then the bulk of my education was done at UL Lafayette, and I was in elementary education. Like I said, I didn't start out in that, but I knew that I was great with children and teaching, and so I went into that. And then, like I said previously, I got scared of the praxis exam, so like everybody else, I asked my advisor, what can I get into that I don't have to take a praxis exam and my credits still count and go towards, everything to where I don't have to stay in school longer. And so he told me, well, you could do child and family studies. You still learn educational theories. It's very tied into social work. That's usually what you graduate in when you want to do social work. And then you get a master's in social work. So I said, okay, that sounds great. We'll do that. So it's funny that all happened because, I'm working in the daycare. I'm also going to school, and then I land into child and family studies. And what a lot of people don't realize about child and family studies is that you study a lot of theories and how children learn, young children specifically, in the early childhood ages. So they actually had a course that I took, and they went over Montessori education. And I got the privilege, I loved this course. I got the privilege to work in a Montessori setting with children, and that was my coursework. So I actually got to study one child in the Montessori world, and I was the observer, because in a Montessori world, you track the child. You meet the child where they're at. You write observations of what they're doing daily so you could see their growth. Okay. And so that was my job. So I got to do that. One half of the one semester was me watching. They actually have a two-way mirror where I can see my child, but they couldn't see me. And so I'm watching that and I'm taking observations. And then my second semester, I got to work with the child and take observations that way. So that is really what turned me on to Montessori education, because I was teaching, in a regular daycare setting, and then I see this Montessori, children learning the Montessori way, using the Montessori method, and it was amazing to watch what my child learns in a course of 6 months. So
what does the word Montessori mean?
Yeah, I was going to ask that. Thank you, Dillon.
Montessori comes from a Italian physician. She was born in 1870. Her name is Maria Montessori. She, of course, has passed away, but her legacy lives on through Montessori education. And Montessori is all about how you teach the child. So the Montessori method is about independency, respect for the child, discovery, and self-paced learning. That's four of the main things about it. So instead of a teacher lecturing to them, they are able to have the choice to choose what they learn in their own way. And the way that this happens is through very prepared environments and materials. So a Montessori classroom looks way different than a daycare classroom. Everything is set up on trays, and everything is specifically set for one skill set to be learned.
Class-wide?
Yes.
Okay.
And so the Montessori method is implemented in work cycles. So for my age group at the Montessori, we do ages 1 to 5. They have a 2 to 3 hour work cycle. So I'll have a 2-hour work cycle in the morning and a 1-hour work cycle in the afternoon. And they get to choose their own work. And they have, Montessori really focuses on, there's 5 things that they study in their curriculum. It's practical life, sensorial, language, math, and cultural studies. And so all of the centers in our school are based around those 5 categories.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Wow. So what are the 4 things again? Because I thought those were pretty interesting. It was independency.
So discovery, independency, prepared material, and self-paced learning.
Okay.
Is really, and respect for the child is the number 1 principle in Montessori.
Respect for the teacher and the child.
Well, when you respect the child,
yes,
typically the child will respect you.
The teacher, correct.
So it's like a very kumbaya. That's what I love about it. That's what I think of when I think of Montessori. I think of connecting with the child. And I'm very, very big on that. Anyone who has ever experienced me as their teacher knows that I'm very big on community. I'm very big on connecting with the child, because if you connect with a child, it opens the door to so much for them, because they're comfortable with you. They're not scared to or nervous to show what they know. And then you can really take them where they're at and grow them.
Yeah. I'm not a educator by any means, but I do know through random anecdotal things off of TikTok and social media is that typically when a child is goofy or weird around their parents, that means that they're comfortable and or they feel safe, which I think is interesting, because you have some family dynamics where the child, however, whatever age they are, when taken out of the element of the home, show who they really are, their weirdness. But when they are in the home, it feels very, very rigid, and they're afraid to be who they are. Yeah,
I've seen both ends, because there was a period of time where I did do social work, and I worked with
She would go in the homes.
Moms and children who were struggling. And so I was able to see that dynamic that you're talking about too. But also I worked very closely with foster children while I was in daycare, children with special needs, all sorts of ranges of things. And so I was just able to kind of form, like, connection was big for me because I knew that they needed that, because some of the babies I worked with didn't have that.
Connecting with them at their level as well.
At their level, and
wherever that may be.
Showing them, I'm big on showing them love, and I think that goes along with respect for the child. When you just love them for who they are, you let them be who they are. Of course, you want to give them some discipline and set some boundaries. That's what Montessori is about, setting boundaries, preparing them, materials in an environment where they could thrive within boundaries.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit more about the actual school itself. What's the idea behind the design of the building? Is there any kind of like flow? How big is the building, the school going to be, all the good jazz?
So we are over 9,000 square foot and we hold 181 kids. I have 12 classrooms, so I'll have 12 lead teachers, assistants, and floaters, because Montessori is about small groups, so I want to have the staff to be able to implement that correctly. And then we are set up with, most of our building is just classroom because Montessori is known for their bigger classrooms. So my 2-year-olds and my 1-year-olds are set up bigger. And then I kind of wanted my 3s and 4s to be smaller groups.
Yeah.
Which is kind of different, but I want it to be because that is a very sensitive period where they're learning language and math. And I wanted to have the smaller group size for our teachers to really be able to sit with them and present the materials correctly and appropriately, and then kind of jump in and guide when they need. Because a Montessori teacher, we actually call them guides. They're a facilitator.
Okay.
Because the students are picking their learning and what they're learning, but we want the students to use the material correctly. And a lot of the Montessori materials in the classroom are created by Maria Montessori, and they still use them to this day. Don't get me wrong, some people have came in and added some things, but they're specifically designed for the child to be able to teach themselves. And they all have points of failure and error, to where a child can self-correct using those materials. So a teacher is just kind of a facilitator to be there when the student just can't seem to get it. And then we represent the material and have them try again. So it's really a self-correcting method
Practical
to teach. Yeah. So.
Okay. So, so the school is being built currently.
Yes.
If you were watching earlier during our sponsor segment with Chase Group Construction, they are building it. It's going to be located at 541 L Provost Road in Scott, which is right off of the new Apollo extension near West Village. Really, the construction is moving along.
Yes, we're actually ahead of time, so we should be opening here in the next couple of months.
Wild.
So they are moving along quickly. Chase Group
like you mentioned, it's going to have 181 children, or give or take, 9,000 square foot. So I wrote the article for you guys, and I'm gonna go ahead and show that real quick.
That article is amazing.
Yes.
So this is the article. If you want to go to our website, developinglafayette.com, there is a little magnifying glass. You can hit that to search. Just type in Little Light of Mine, or go to Google, type in Little Light of Mine, Montessori Academy in Scott, Louisiana. You'll probably see my article pop up. You can scroll through that, read a little bit more about it. One of the main things that I think a lot of people talked about, and I want to ask you about, is the fact that it is a Christian, first Christian
great topic
school. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about that.
So the name actually comes from Matthew 5:14. little light of mine. So the theory behind this is, or I'm just going to explain where that came from. So I didn't know what to do when we were going through Emmy's situation. So of course I read all the devotionals. I dove deep into the Bible. I was just in a very dark place, and I'm trying to pull myself out, and that is how I pull myself out. And so I kept coming across Matthew 5:14. And so I don't know why I kept coming across that. It's like I would open my devotional and there it is again. And so I think that was God trying to tell me, this is your time to be my light. You can be a beacon of light even in your darkest moments, and share, what you're going through with the world and how you're getting through it. And so that is where the name came from. We kind of like played around with it for a while because I said, oh, it's so long. But it just kept coming to me. And I said, I just can't venture away from it because it just keeps popping out at me. And for me, it's very connected to, what a Montessori is about. A Montessori is about joy. It's about light. It's about love. And so, while Montessori isn't Christian, we are a private school, and I just can't see doing this without showing people, Jesus' love and light, or giving them the opportunity to discover that, because some people don't get that opportunity. And so I really want to implement that. I want them to know how to pray when things get tough. I want them to have that foundation. And so that's why we chose to be Christian.
And we love everybody, by the way.
Yeah, and we love everybody. And the cool thing about us being a Christian Montessori, it does not change anything about our curriculum. We are still going to study everything that we would have, all the cultural studies. They will learn about other religions that other countries practice. So nothing is off the table. It's just people are going to know if they sign their child up with us. We do pray at our center. We do have materials in the classroom about Jesus. We do give them the opportunity to connect with Jesus and know his love. And so that's really why we chose to be Christian, is because it's something near and dear to my heart. And I always said, if I do this, it's going to be very authentic, and it's going to be what's been brewing, because this has been several years that we've talked about opening a child care center, but we didn't know how it was possible. And so now that we can, we want to be authentic and bring what we always wanted to bring to the table.
That's right.
Yeah. No, and I think that's amazing. I mean, obviously, it's a private school. You guys can do what you want to do.
Right.
Yes. Obviously within reason.
I told someone the other day, questioned. I said, listen, we're going to be for a lot of people. We're not for everybody. If we were, we would have to build the Cajun Dome, or something like that. So we're excited.
And the thing is, you can't, in an ideal world, sure, but you can't be everything to everybody.
Yes. No, you can't.
You can't.
Yeah.
And when you try to do that,
you lose yourself. Yeah.
That, and there also are still conflicts that come up.
Mm-hmm.
So you can try to be. You can try to be. You mentioned kumbaya. I feel like the ultimate kumbaya is trying to be everything to everybody and be chill and not have any arguments, never have any disputes.
Yes,
that's never going to happen.
No, unfortunately, it won't. So we just are who we are, and I know that it's going to be an amazing place where the children will be loved and cared for, because that is at the top of my list. It's very important to me to bring that to the childcare industry, because the number one thing that moms or families complain about is they don't bring their child to a daycare because it is so watered down now. They're scared that someone's going to hurt their child. They're scared that it's just a glorified babysitting service, and they're charging these crazy amounts when they can just send their child to an in-home sitter. So this will really be an educational institute. There is a lot of hurdles, that I'm having to jump over, and I'm the person to do it just because I have that knowledge.
Yeah.
And I've worked with young children for so long. And so I really, truly, believe that children deserve better. And I'm here to bring that to them.
So you mentioned the pricing of daycare, essentially. What does that look like for you guys? Obviously, you're not a daycare. You're a Montessori Academy, but
Yes.
you are also private. So do you guys have your tuition?
We're still working the kinks out with that.
Yeah, we're still
almost
working
there,
on
but
it.
we're just actually finalizing insurance and all. We're shooting hard to be on the lowest end of any Montessori out there. It is more expensive with, the building materials
just
and all.
the employee cost alone, because we have extra hands, which is a great thing, but that is the highest cost in childcare, is paying the employees, and we want to pay our employees well. We want great quality staff members. Right. And so that is another priority of mine, because for me to have the best, I need the best people working for me. And so I feel like our prices are going to be fair. There's not really there is no other pre-primary Montessori in Lafayette that I know about. I do know there's Montessori of Acadiana who serves ages 3 and up, but nobody who really does awesome, 0 to 3. Yeah. And they're amazing. But so we're kind of like trying to pair together. I'm like, okay, I'll do, pre-primary, and they're actually like doing elementary students, and they're really growing. So, so I'm happy to bring that to the area, because there's not a pre-primary Montessori in the area. They have pre-K3, they have pre-K4, but they don't have 0 to 3, which is crazy to me, because that is the most sensitive period. From 0 to 5, that is the most sensitive time for children to learn. And so I feel like we need that, in Acadiana.
Yeah. And it's the first Christian Montessori school. Preschool. First.
Now we didn't just come up. They have that around. They have very few of them, but they do have around. But it's huge just not in Texas and everywhere else.
Prevalent just in this area,
right? Okay,
yep. We're definitely bringing it to the area. We're super excited.
Yeah. So like we talked about, the building is coming up super fast. Whenever I wrote that article, and I'll show it again here. Whenever I wrote that article, I included a sign-up link or the wait list in there, and you guys had relatively 0 sign-ups before I posted it.
We were waiting for you, or we were going to wait for you to go public with it, period. So we went from 0 to 200 in 24 hours.
0 to 200
in 24 hours.
Wow. Yes, that's crazy, dude.
And it's been going up ever since. So we bringing an amazing thing, and we know it's going to be great. So these parents that are signing up, they're going to be well satisfied.
So you only have 181 spots in the school.
Yeah.
And I'm going to guess you have closer to 250, 300 signups.
We're right under 350 right now.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So
that doesn't line up perfectly. Doesn't mean that we have exactly the right amount of 18
so there's different age groups.
3-year-old, 4-year-old. So we got to see where it fits.
We have lots of 2-year-olds who signed up. So but when I looked at it last, I think we do. If everybody would actually sign up from the wait list, our rosters would be full in all age groups.
Ideally, you would have everybody sign up, correct? Okay.
Yeah. So, that's what we hope for.
Yeah. So, what were your thoughts whenever you saw your wait list climbing that fast? Because that was pretty amazing to see. I'll be honest.
For the first time that night, after you posted at 9:30 or so, we waited an hour and we were about to go to bed. We're like, okay, let's check. I'm like, I say 5. She said 10. The first time we looked, it was like 67. We're like, oh crap. And then we checked about 15 minutes later, we were having trouble going to bed, and it went up another like 25. And we were like, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So what time did y'all actually find time to go to sleep? Like,
I know, we stayed up late that night. We were so excited.
Yeah. And I'm sorry I wrote about it late.
I texted you. I'm like, is this going to be too late?
Yeah. So look, so those of you who are listening and watching, I've been doing Developing in Lafayette since 2012, and I have never grabbed the shovel to do a groundbreaking.
We need to talk about that. Yes.
And so Dillon and Chrystal were like, hey, you can get in a picture, you can grab a shovel, and I was
Absolutely.
like, I could do this.
Me? Yes, we wanted you involved. Absolutely.
So that was the first time. Yeah, that was the first time I ever grabbed one of those gold-looking shovels and
that's amazing.
cracked some
History
dirt.
started there that day, and we're gonna continue on with it.
Yeah,
We appreciate that, Ben.
Sure. And I appreciate you guys for allowing me to be essentially the first to share it, because you guys wanted to wait till I posted it, which I was like, I'm good with you guys posting it first if you guys wanted to, but you guys were like, hey, you post first. I was appreciative of that.
Yes.
So being a part of the groundbreaking was pretty special to me, because now that's something I'll remember forever.
Yeah.
And
That's awesome.
seeing how fast it's being built, like knowing that Chase Group is doing it, who's a sponsor, like everything's kind of like, it's like this big circle.
It's aligning.
And,
Yes.
and it's just really, it's really neat to see.
And when was that? When was the date that we did the groundbreaking?
So I'm gonna look at the post date here.
I'm not good with dates.
Yeah, I'm terrible with dates too.
So
I wish I could be better, but
that was March 6th.
Okay, so a month and a half, a little over a month and a half, and we went from grass, to pad to concrete.
Yeah, structure.
And now we have the whole building is up. Yeah, we're just doing the logistics part of it now, but it's coming up quick.
Yeah, that's really exciting.
Working, so we're excited about it.
All right, so we are at about 50 minutes, a little over 50 minutes. And I know, Dillon, you got to get running in a little bit here. Is there anything that we did not discuss about you guys, Emmy, the connection with the Little Light of Mine school, the academy? Like, is there something that we didn't talk about that you guys really want to make sure that we mention?
I just kind of wanted to touch on the community of this city. They've gotten us through a lot. And so I've always wanted to show my appreciation from the support that we got from Emmy's situation. They literally kept all of our bills paid over here and kept us in our home. And so that means, the world to me, that we were able to have all of our things when we came home, I guess. And, their material, the main thing is Emmy, but just the appreciation that people who don't know us from this community came together to support us means a lot. And so I just kind of want to touch on that and say thank you. And even with this venture, I think a lot of it is God, but the community is showing up again. To have so many people on the wait list and, support our journey. And of course, we're going to support their kiddos' journey in return. But it just means a lot. So we're very, very thankful and appreciative and grateful. And there will never be enough words to
it will be returned
describe, how grateful and thankful we are. But I definitely keep this community in my prayers every night and thank God for this beautiful community that has kept us afloat through all of our times. And so, I just wanted to touch on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't say it better myself. This community is a great community.
Keep doing your videos too, by the way. We're loving that.
We love the videos.
Look, I just posted one today and it's doing all right. It's a little bit different. It's not a restaurant per se, but it's like a collection. It's for Festival International, the apothecary shop, and
so you're going outside of restaurants.
Yeah, I did a little bit, but it's still food related.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I got a few more.
Let me know if you go to daycares. We'll talk.
Okay, all right. I don't know how that's gonna work, but hey,
we'll get the same shovel that you held last time.
Right.
But awesome.
Yeah, yes. Man. Well, congrats to you guys. Really love the idea of the school. Really love you guys. Your passion for the community, and it really shows. And obviously, the community sees value and appreciation for you guys, and all that good stuff. So there's a lot going on there.
Appreciate that.
Whatever you guys are doing, keep doing it.
We don't know.
We don't know what we're doing. We're just following God's command at this point.
Right. Yes, we're making sure Emmy's healthy, and besides that, we just doing life.
Yeah.
And
whatever comes our way.
Yep.
I really feel like this was a call from God, because the way that everything lines up, and you were talking about how does it make us feel about all those people on the wait list? And I think that's God just saying,
This is what
keep
you're
being
supposed to be doing.
authentic. This is what you're supposed to be doing. I feel like it's a calling. And I mean, now I know why, I've worked with, people would call me crazy. Some people are like, how do you teach the little ones for so long? And I think it's just my calling.
My favorite quote by Steve Jobs is,
Yeah.
you can never connect the dots looking forward, but you can always connect the dots looking back. And that is her life playing out right now.
Yeah,
All right.
for sure. Because I never understood why, no matter what I did or
Every
how I
angle
tried
of
to
her
venture
career
away
is
from
coming
it, I was
together.
always end up back into that
Yeah.
early childhood, caretaking, education, teaching, always landed back there. And I mean, I tried to run out of there, but it just, God always
we
brought
did
me
leave out
back.
the fact that you've directed daycares as well.
Yes,
so
I
she
have
has a lot of
managed
experience
a
in
couple of
managing
local
these
daycares.
Yeah.
And so this is kind of like second nature to me. So I'm excited to be able to still do what I love, except be more flexible and teach others how to do it. Because right now I'm just in a classroom with my 22 kiddos. So I'm excited to be able to get out and, show people how they best learn and
Be the light of their life.
yeah.
There you go.
So affect more children.
Yeah, I love that. All right. Well, before we close out, make sure you guys, if you're watching or listening, you should be able to see in the description of this, the caption of this video or episode, there is a link to join the wait list. So if you do want to join the wait list for Little Light of Mine Montessori Academy and coming up in Scott, you can do that there. Also, you can follow them on Facebook. I'm pretty sure on Instagram too.
We don't do much on Instagram.
We're not big on Instagram. I have one.
Okay.
It's too much.
So you can follow me on
Yeah.
Instagram.
Okay. Well, Facebook for sure for Little
Yes.
Light of Mine. Check them out. You can actually follow along with the progress of the building. So really great to see that. And with that, I hope you guys have a great week. It is the middle of the week. Festival starts this week. So I don't know if you guys are planning on going out there.
We're not. We're going to be out at our camp, but we
Okay.
know that everybody's going to enjoy that
Well,
festival.
Enjoy it for us.
Yes.
Well, look, so the thing to enjoy is gumbo empanadas.
There you go.
I'm telling you. In my video
sounds
that I
good.
posted today,
That's
or
awesome.
technically last night, I tried the gumbo empanada and you put a little bit of a potato salad on it.
Oh.
I'm telling you, the empanada guy.
You put your potato salad in the gumbo, or do you scoop and then dip?
No, it's an
all
empanada.
right,
Is
so-
it like gumbo?
Oh, that's a
in
whole nother-
Yeah,
I
I'll have
remember
to see
you
what this
posted
looks like.
So we're about to get political.
I do remember you posting something about
Look,
that.
okay, I don't want to go down the whole
Okay.
rabbit hole.
All right.
Look,
All right. Another day.
you got a house to sell, I think.
Yes. Yes.
Coming up.
I do.
So
I do. Yes.
this could be another hour long
Correct.
situation.
Correct.
But I'll just keep it brief. I keep my potato salad and gumbo separate.
Okay.
Until they meet in the spoon.
Yes.
I grab potato salad with a spoon and dip it in the gumbo.
That's what I said.
That's
I
what
like-
I do too.
Yep.
I think a lot of people do that, but people misunderstood my thought process. I
Gotcha.
don't put the potato salad in the gumbo bowl because I don't want the potato salad getting warm and
Yeah.
it start to kind of mix.
Yeah.
I like keeping the potato salad either whatever it's lukewarm, room temperature, or cold out of the refrigerator and merging it with that hot gumbo.
Absolutely.
It's a good mix.
Yep.
I'm not opposed to putting it with the gumbo. I merge it at the spoon.
Okay. We're not going to talk
Guys.
too much politics here.
Yeah,
man.
so
We're good.
see, but it also kind of aligns with my political views anyway. I'm kind of center right, so I kind of play both. I have them separate, but I dip it a little bit. Anyway, guys,
Awesome.
It was great having you guys on, and I hope you guys excel at it, and I can't wait to check it out. Let me know whenever it's getting close to being done. We can do a walkthrough
Perfect.
of it. I might have to
Awesome.
charge you for that. We'll see.
Perfect.
But yeah, I can't wait to check it out in person and see what the school looks like and see it running.
Yes.
And that's going to be really exciting.
It's going to be amazing.
For sure.
Thank you
so much for having us.
All right,
We
thank
appreciate
y'all.
it.
Y'all have a great week, and yeah, and weekends coming up. So take care, and again, thank you guys for coming on.
Thank you,
Thank
Ben.
you.
All right.